Hello everybody and welcome to our channel. This is Eli and with me today there is Patrick. So following up on the request that came through the Instagram, that by the way you can follow because you have all our details below here in the description box, and also feel free to subscribe to our channel, offer us a coffee, keep interacting with us through YouTube and through Instagram. This one keeps us motivated and also keep us going. So don't feel shy, you can always write. As long as there are good suggestions, you can always write inside the comment box. We're just here for the love. So one of the requests that came through the Instagram, the question box, was from Kinga Palos. And she was asking for anything regarding good posture. So good posture is a very nice topic because theoretically that's what yoga is teaching us in the long run, is like to have a little bit of better good posture. And a lot of the more returning asana or like postures per se in yoga, they are all like kind of targeting good posture. Sometimes what makes the difference really is how much awareness we bring in what we do. It's not the posture per se, but it's more like how we bringing presence, muscle engagement, awareness on our body, instead to just move in and out without awareness per se. So in the request of Kinga, we had also, she gave birth, so there were a lot of things related to indeed gain some strength back. So especially if you give birth, you will realize that you have some struggles here and there when it comes to the pelvic floor, but also when it comes to strength, because your body had to get very flexible to allow your your newborn to pass through. So essentially, like one step back would be really to focus on muscle engagement. So if you're somewhere, you should feel something. All right. So we will start in our tabletop position today. And again, bringing also here awareness into our presence on the tabletop. So even when you are here, start to feel the top of the feet pressing onto the ground, feeling that you have a gentle lift into the belly. So you have a slight engagement into your core, and the hands are pressing into the ground as they are separated, and you find a little bit of protraction into the shoulders, meaning that your scapula are slightly separating. So creating this kind of dome onto the chest. And we stay here just 3 breaths. Keep pressing the floor, bringing awareness on something very easy. So what happens sometimes when we are in our tabletop, I'm pretty sure you're not engaging as much as you're doing now. So if you just, I'm hanging here, but you can always bring like awareness in everything you do. When you exhale, release from this more engaged tabletop, and we will move between our cat and cows. 5 rounds, and the last one we will hold. We will take hold. So when you're ready, inhale, open the chest. Belly drop, chest open, chest through the bicep. Exhale from the tailbone all the way up. Chin towards the chest. Inhale, open. Synchronize with the breath. Keep the elbows straight. Exhale, round. So we want to lift from the belly all the way up towards the spine. Inhale, open up for 3. Keep the chest moving between your biceps. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Last time, we open and we hold now. So again, we press the feet down, we find the tailbone reaching towards the sky, feeling this stretch into the abdominal, chest move forward, press actively onto the ground, squeeze the shoulder blades between each other and move them towards the back. So you want to find this squeeze in the shoulder blades like you're holding something, and then they slide down towards the middle of your spine. Keep gazing forward, taking a couple of breaths here, pressing actively into the hands, pressing the feet down. And when you're ready, exhale, round, and again, same, we pause in our cat, press the feet, squeeze the inner thighs, round your spine, navel towards the spine. And we want to separate now the shoulder blades. Keep pushing into the hands. Keep breathing, 2 rounds of breaths. When you're ready, exhale, release. from here we tuck the toes under, we move the hips towards the sky, we find our first day of downward facing dog of today. So also downward facing dog can be one of these elusive posture in terms that you can elude a little bit the activation and engagement if you want to, if you're very flexible. So let's start to bring some awareness there. Either if you have your knees bent, like Patrick is showing here, or if you have your legs straight, you want to still feel that the heels are moving towards the ground. At the same time, the hips are moving back, like you want to create an inverted V. Finding that the navel is moving again towards the spine, pressing the floor away, slight elevation of your shoulder, armpits are looking into each other, finding engagement and outer rotation of your shoulder, pressing the hands onto the ground, and the head can be kind of relaxed. Staying here a couple of breaths, find this full body engagement. Maybe the outer edge of the glutes also participate. Other 2 breaths. Last one. Keep pushing, don't let go. Sometimes when I'm in class, I say keep pushing, and then there is like an initial push, and then we come back to kind of laziness. When you're in the inhale, way forward, find a plank. So we also here, engagement, we want to send the heels towards the back, squeeze the legs together, tuck your tailbone under, and then shift the weight towards the front so that you can create this roundiness in the upper part of your spine. Belly is nice and engaged. When you're ready, option knees on ground or off the floor. I will go with the knees off the floor, moving in our chaturanga towards the floor. When you're ready, release fully onto the mat. Untuck your toes, shoulders are moving back, so we squeeze the shoulder blades together. We bring the feet together, moving in our Bhujangasana or a Cobra. So in Cobra, we want to, again, bring quite an activation into the legs. If you do it well, at least for me, that's the part I get tired earlier. So we lift the knees from the ground and we press the feet onto the floor. Slightly tuck, belly moves away from the floor. Shift the weight a little bit more towards the front so that you can extend the crown of the head towards the front. Inhaling, lifting up, pressing the feet, elbow stays bent, pelvis is on the floor. And we want to find a nice lift into the upper spine. So we squeeze the shoulder blades together so that we transit the back bend into the upper part of the spine. The feet keep staying engaged. And exhale, we release. When you're ready, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. We will do this one other 2 times. So when you're ready, move into your downward facing dog, pressing the floor away. Finding 2 breaths here. Again, remember, everything should feel nice and present. You know, then sometimes like how we can have a posture that is strong if we are not building body awareness. When you're ready, inhale, wave into a plank. Your way to move through your chaturanga destination is Cobra pose. Exhale towards the floor, belly on floor. Untuck the toes, open the shoulders already. Hands can be under the shoulder or a little bit back if you have a little bit more space, squeezing the elbow side of the rib cage, inhale coming up. Again, we want to squeeze between the shoulder blades so that our arch comes a little bit higher and outside of the lower back, or at least not overly and solely in the lower back. When you're the exhale, release, tuck your toes, move maybe into a child pose. And then downward facing dog. 1 way to go. Breathing in, again, 2 rounds of breath. Keep pressing, activating through the hands. On the next inhalation, move into your plank. Exhale, your wave to move towards your Cobra through your chaturanga. And then we start to open the chest. Again, moving into our Bhujangasana. One thing that I forgot to say before that is really important. Imagine that your hands are moving towards your feet so that your heart can move even more forward, creating this action or traction like Patrick says, so he's doing. If you want, you can lift even the hands from the ground, seeing really how strong is your spine. When you're ready, exhale, move back. Child pose, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. When you're ready from here, we come on toes. Exhale, heels on ground. We do this one just for 2. Inhale, come onto your toes. Keep everything nice. Exhale, heels on ground. Last one, on toes. Exhale, heels on ground. Your way to move towards the front of the mat. Step, maybe 1, maybe many.
Exhaling, finding a forward fold. Maybe grabbing the opposite elbows, feeling like this dangling sensation, but at the same time you want to keep the back chain of your legs pretty active. So you want to make sure that everything is there. When you already bend the knees, we come all the way up one vertebra at a time. Option to send the hands towards the sky. Exhale, hands in front of the heart, and we relax the hand side of our hips. Closing the eyes, again, bringing that awareness again. Awareness that can be built through the breath, and then transit in our muscle. And also kind of working on bringing focus, avoiding from fidgeting that actually requires to our body a little bit more air and oxygen, so we are actually making ourselves fatigue even more. When you're ready from here, we step the left foot back and we find an eye lunge. Start with the positioning. So for example, if this one is a little bit too much, you can always bring the knee onto the ground. My recommendation will be start maybe with the knee onto the ground, tuck your tailbone under, and then lift the knee. So feel that you neutralize the spine here. Inner arms are reaching towards the sky. We stay in our warrior high lunge, or potentially if you have it a warrior one, so different position of the back foot that Patrick is, but I will show you. A little bit more intense for the hip, the warrior one. So either way, we want to point the left hip forward. Last two breaths here, squeeze everything together, find strong legs. Avoid to move into the lower spine. When you're ready, if you are into your warrior one, move on toes and bring the left knee onto the ground. From here, finding an anjonym. Inhaling, exhaling, cactus arms, open the chest towards the sky, tuck your tailbone under, neutralize the lower back, inhale, arms are reaching. Again, also when we do this cactus arm on exhalation, like now, inhale, open, squeeze the shoulder blades together, take a cycle of breath, and bring the arms up. Exhale, find your cactus, last one. Inhale, arms are reaching up. So from here, you will be participating in one of the favorite things I like to do, that is funky transition and weird transition. So from here, either you stay where you are or you bring your hands onto the ground. Destination is actually gate pose. How we do this? If you want, you can balance on top of the left knee, moving a little bit back, lifting the right foot and send it out. Or Patrick can show you just by bringing the hands onto the ground and just allow the foot to move onto the side. Same, different journey, same destination, right? So when you're ready from here, inhale, arms are reaching up. Exhale, right hand towards the right thigh, left arms reach overhead. We find this beautiful lateral stretch. Keep breathing, finding this nice space. Last two breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, come up. Now, both hands onto the ground. And we want to bring the right knee behind the left one. So we make a big circle. Direction Gomukhasana. So Gomukhasana, cow face. You want to bring the feet apart so that you can sit between your heels. If you need, you can grab a block. Yeah, like Patrick is showing you. So simply by grabbing a block and sitting back. From here, knees as much as you can, one on top of each other, hips onto the ground. We can stay in this position, or we can invite the arms. So send your right arm up, bend the right elbow, maybe using your left hand as a support. And I like to make a big circle with my left arm all the way back, grabbing the fingers. If you don't have the space, you can stay like Patrick is doing, just by focusing on the opening arm to the chest. If you can grab your hands, try to avoid to round. So keep your ego in check. If you need to grab your shirt to stay all uptight, is also all right, right? There is nothing bad there. Keep breathing in and out. opening the chest. When you're ready, inhale from here, come all the way, releasing the hands. We want to bring the hands onto the ground so that we bring ourselves back in our gate pose, sending our right leg out, where it came from. Remove the block if you had it under. So we do the same trick we did before. I know I could ask you just to bring the right leg forward, but then there is no fun in life, right? So tuck your left toes, balancing on top of the left knee, and send your right foot forward. Patrick is showing you maybe with the hands down as to facilitate that. Just send your right leg forward. From here, we send the hips back, flexing the right foot, finding our half split. Inhaling, lifting the chest, inviting a cow spine and finding a fold. So a lot of times when I am in class, I essentially see people sending the arms onto the side, coming higher. But then the question is like, what is the scope and the purpose of this pose? It's an hamstring stretch. So if I'm moving away from the stretch of the hamstrings, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Maybe it looks more flamboyant for the people in the class. You think like, oh, maybe it's very advanced. But in reality, are you doing what the pose is giving you? Or like you are actually run away what the pose is there for giving you? When you're ready, inhale, lift the chest. So we start to slide the right heel back, landing in our Afiro Virabhadrasana, Ardha Virabhadrasana to be fair. So left heel outside of the left thigh. Inhaling, arms are reaching up. Exhale, we fold. Again, inviting that cow spine. If you notice that you have a restriction into the spine, for example, you cannot find that pelvic tilt, stay a little bit higher. Make sure that the knees are pointing towards the front of the mat. And then we take 3 breaths here. Keep focusing on pressing essentially the chest towards your knee, or like simply moving the crown of the head towards the toes. Imagine that you can touch the toes with the crown of the head. It's a beautiful visualization. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift up. Now, a little bit moving in our Anjane Asana again. So hands on ground, lift and move. Tuck the back toes, hands inside the right foot, and we lift the back knee and we spin both feet parallel to the short part of the mat. And we find our wide-legged forward fold, a mouthful for a word that is in Sanskrit, just one word, like is prasarita. So from here, inhale, lift the chest, exhale, start to fold. Again, legs are super active. If you are one of those very active kind of beings, imagine that the thighs wants to move together. So if almost you want to make ripples in the middle of your mat, so that you try to avoid away from that flexibility that you got, and it's more like, I keep a little bit higher, but I'm engaged. When you're ready, take 3 breaths here, working to send the tailbone towards the sky. If you need to bend the knees here, do so. And keep the feet anchoring onto the floor. When you're ready, press the floor away with your hands. Gaze towards your right foot. Frame that right foot and step forward. And we find a gentle forward fold. From here, heel to toe, we open. And we find our nice Malasana, squatting down. Again, always option to bring a block under the sitting bones, especially if you notice that you struggle, so you're leaning a lot into the front, or your spine is all roundy, and it doesn't feel nice, right? So we want to invite like a little bit of nice feeling. We stay here, just 2 breaths. Keep sending the knees in line with the toes by using your elbows and separating. When you're ready, exhale, both hands on ground, lifting the hips, remove the block from under, heel to toe, feet together. Bend the knees, find a chair pose. Tuck the tailbone under, belly in and lifted. Hands can be in front of the heart, especially if the arms are a little bit of the element that mess you up. So we want, if the arms are reaching up though, we want to squeeze the shoulder blades together and find space into the chest. Exhale, come to standing. On the next inhalation, this time we will step the right foot back. Again, warrior 1 or eye lunge. Again, if you for eye lunge, bend the knee, tuck your tailbone under and lift. Arms are reaching towards the sky. If we want, like before, for a warrior One, you want to have this 45-degree opening into the back foot, like it's a little bit more intense for the hip, pointing the right hip forward. This time arms reach towards the sky. Again, bending the elbows, funny cactus arm, but this time we hold. So we squeeze the shoulder blades behind, we open the chest, tucking the tailbone, and then we flip the palm towards the back. Imagine that you're holding two amazing pizzas, so you don't want to drop them down, right? I'm a big pizza fan, so I definitely don't want you to drop them down. I waited all day for those pizzas, and they are really steaming, they smell delicious, so keep holding them up. When you're ready, exhale. We start to spin on top of the back foot if you were into your warrior one. You bring the right knee down. Finding your Anjane. Inhaling, arms are reaching towards the sky. Exhale, your version to move towards the gate pose. We did it before. So either you balance on top of the right knee and you make a big circle with the left foot, landing in line with the hip. Or like Patrick, you bring the hands onto the ground and you help yourself. Inhaling, sending the arms up. Exhale, gate pose, opening. Gazing under the right armpit, finding a nice stretch into the right side. We keep breathing. Last breath in. And last breath out. When you're ready, exhale, both hands onto the ground. Place the hands onto the floor so that you can bring the left knee behind the right. Right. And we separate the feet quite enough so that we can invite our cow face. Gomukhasana, sitting back. Grab a block, indeed, for elevating your hips. So a lot of people say like, why is a cow face? I don't see the face, I don't see the cow. So theoretically, this one will be the mouth, your knees, and the feet will be the nice ears of your cow. So we start onto the other side. So we send the left arm up and we bend the elbow. Again, Patrick keep holding his elbow to support the opening on the chest. If you have the space, send the right arm all the way forward, make a big circle, and see if you can grab the back of your hands behind your shoulders. Again, tendency will be to round. So see if you can simply stare. Avoid the roundiness by opening the chest. Inviting some opening into the chest. Last couple of breaths here. When you're ready, exhale, release, hands on ground. Want to bring the hands onto the floor to support yourself. Again, we want to send the left leg all the way out, right? In our gate pose, like before. Kind of preparing for a little bit of balancing towards the front of the mat. So we want to send the leg forward. I like this transition very much because it invites a little bit of coordination and balance. So I start to kind of engage more my right leg. You can always use your hands. And I lift my left foot, balancing and send the left foot forward. Bringing both hands on ground, finding our low, I would say is more like a runner lunge. And then we move back in our half split. Flexing the foot. Inhaling here, exhaling, folding. If you feel that your half split is kind of a mundane place for you to be, I always encourage you to walk the hands more towards the front. Should intensify the stretch into the hamstrings. Keep pressing the left knee, the left ankle down, and imagine that you want to pull it back, the left heel actually, and you want to pull it back, and the right hip at the same time is moving forward. Taking the last two breaths here. Keep curling the toes back. When you're in the inhale, lift the chest. We start to slide back for our half here. So send the right heel outside of the buttocks. Both knees are pointing forward. Inhale, arms are reaching up. Exhale, finding a fold, preparing the flexion out to the foot. Again, I like to bring the elbows down, and I suggest you like to see the difference with grabbing the foot, elbows down. What is the positioning of your back? Always option here to feel this lengthening into the spine by imagining that your belly wants to move closer to the thigh and the crown of the hand wants to move closer to the foot. So see what is the sensation there. Last couple of breaths. When you inhale, lift the chest. Placing the hands down, we move back forward, moving in our Anjane Asana again. This time, hands inside the left foot, moving in our wide-legged forward fold. Toes in, heels out. This time we grab the big toes, finding the Ashtanga Yogi lock. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bend the elbows toward outside, find your fold. Keep sending the tailbone towards the sky. Keep pressing the outer edge of the feet onto the ground, really anchoring through your feet. And you want to shift a little bit the weight into the toes, like this sensation like, oh, maybe I'm falling out of it. And no, you're not. Just shift and play with weight and awareness of your body. Keep breathing in and out. When you're ready, inhale, lift the chest. Hands under the shoulder, gaze forward. We move towards the front of the mat, framing our left foot, stepping the right foot close to the right one close to the left one. Exhaling, folding here. Taking a moment here to feel a little bit long. When you're ready, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, plant the hands down, find your plank position. We will hold our plank for 3 breaths, so heels back. Tuck the tailbone, separate the shoulder blades. Say like, why is for posture the plank? It's a pretty strong posture for you. Invite like really to keep yourself quite in place. When you're ready, exhale, either knees on ground, otherwise chaturanga onto the floor. Inhale, finding a cobra. Again, you know the gist. Open the chest, finding that arch behind the heart space. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lifting here, keep the engagement outside of the shoulder strong. When you're ready, bring the knees onto the ground and take a seat here. So the next position we will do, we had the half version, was half hero, will be like a full hero pose. For a lot of us, this posture is quite intense. So grab a block and keep it handy. So we want to keep the knees as much as we can together, placing the hands in front so that we can separate our heels and pretty much bringing our buttocks between our heels. So for a lot of us, this one is already like kind of set here. I don't want to move anymore forward. Keep the legs together. Avoid from spreading the legs too much. You don't want to strain your knees. So if instead this one feels like, yeah, this is exactly how I watch TV, so can be an option for you to place the hands back and walk the hands towards the back of the mat. Maybe the elbows are landing down. And maybe this one for you is your maximum. Also hands can be there. If you have space, you can rest all the way down. Pay attention what happens to your knees though. If you see that the knees are lifting or spreading, maybe you want to bring yourself a little bit more higher, right? If you see that the knees can stay where they are and you can nicely rest down and they stay on ground, maybe you can stay here with me for a couple of breaths or staying a little bit up like Patrick is doing. Nothing makes one better than the other. Be aware of this. Block always under your sitting bones if you are a little bit higher. Last 2 breaths. Notice if you are overarching the spine. Instead, try to neutralize your lower back. And when you're ready, elbows onto the ground, start to bring yourself up. Bringing the hands in front of the knees. Roll onto the knees again. And we step back. Ooh. From here, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Shake your legs. Taking a moment, shaking the tail of your dog, and start to bring the feet towards the front of the mat. Either you take a big step, or maybe multiple steps. From here, start to squat down. This is very important that you activate and squeeze the legs together to avoid to enter into the joint. Start to move the hips towards the ground and then move onto your toes. Maybe even sending the knees forward, finding a little bit of a toe balance. 3 breaths in toe balance is one of these postures at the beginning was like, what? Toe balance? This is hard. And yeah, it is. In that point, it requires quite an amount of awareness, but once you find a nice amount of engagement, you can kind of stay here. When you're already heels towards the ground and we move the buttocks towards the floor, arms are reaching forward, palms are facing toward each other, bend the knees, find your Navasana pose. Keep breathing, squeeze everything in, or like Patrick is showing you, if lifting the feet is a little bit too much, you can always keep the toes onto the ground. If you extend, keep a 90-degree position for you, it's like, I don't feel anything, maybe you can send the legs up. So everything is different according where you are, or like the body that you have, or simply how much effort you put in everything you do, right? How many times you do it a day. When you already exhale, release the feet onto the ground. From here, we start to move on to our back. Gently release down. Preparing for our wheel or for our bridge. So if you are somebody that struggles with front body, I would say front body extensions, like in that sense, or sorry, front body stretch, like back bends, you know, it's pretty much a synonym, like I'm back bending and I'm stretching the front part of my body. You can enter into a bridge. We will go up once. If you have wheel into your practice, you can invite the wheel. I will cue you through both. So if you're entering to a bridge, like Patrick will do, you want to place the knees in line with your hips, feet close enough for your fingers to brush the heel. And then you want to keep like this nice engagement into the inner thighs, so that if you're holding a block, or maybe you have a block, you can place it between the legs and find that engagement. When you're ready, you start to tuck your tailbone under, lifting your lower, middle, and upper back from the floor, balancing on top of your shoulders. Keep engaging the glutes and lifting up. Now, if you want to enter into the wheel, setup is pretty much the same. Hands are moving close to the ears. Make sure if you have air to just place your hands on top of the air. Fingers towards the shoulders. On the next inhalation, you lift the lower, middle, upper back, stretching your arms, directing yourself into a wheel pose, gazing between the thumbs. Now, if you're into your wheel and you want to move the feet together, be my guest. And you can always switch yourself a little bit forward, maybe bend the knees, shake your spine, and move deeper. Last 2 breaths. When you're ready, wherever you are, if you're into your wheel, start to bend the knees, chin towards the chest, release the upper, and then middle and lower back onto the ground. Same for the bridge. Upper, middle, and lower back onto the ground. Knock your knees in, feet as wide as the mat. Then start to drop the knees right and left. Right and onto the left side. Almost there. Preparing by bringing the knees into the chest. We reversed a little bit our shoulder stand sequencing by entering in our plow pose or alasana prior to shoulder stand. So when you're ready, start by keeping the knees into the chest, and we want to swing the legs overhead. So you want to find a little bit of leg swing so that the feet can land behind your head. So imagine that you are a kid, you know, sometimes helps. When you're ready, inhale and exhale, feet behind the head. Now, if your feet don't touch the ground, maybe you want to keep the hands onto the lower back to support yourself. Keep the chin towards the chest, protecting your spine. And instead, if your feet are on the ground, maybe send the hands towards the feet. Keep the legs quite active, meaning that you want to stretch them up until it's possible, because if you need to bend, you need to bend, right? And you want to send the tailbone
almost towards the front of your mat so that you find this kind of super stretch sensation into the hamstrings. When you're ready, place the hands onto the sacrum, if you were not before. Inhale, bring the knees towards the forehead, adjust your hands, maybe let them travel a little bit higher, squeeze the elbows together, and on the next inhalation, send the legs towards the sky. Finding your shoulder stand, chin towards the chest again, and if you need to pause this and watch it again, please do so. Make sure that your chin doesn't start to move in all directions when you're here. So maybe it's better that you have a look and then you rewind back to our plie pose so that you can kind of guide yourself with ease. When you're ready, exhale, we bend the knees again towards the forehead, sending the hands towards the front, one vertebra at a time, we move towards the ground. Bring the knees into your chest, rock your lower back from side to side. When you're ready from here, right knee stays in, extend your left leg towards the front of the mat, left hand at side of the right knee, open your right arm onto the side and find this nice twist. Gazing towards the right shoulder, placing a block under the knee if you notice that there is a lot of space in between, or if your shoulder is lifting so much that feels like, I am kind of stuck here, like it doesn't feel nice at all. Taking a couple of breaths, staying here in anticipation for the Shavasana already. When you're ready, right knee into the chest, hug the left one too, rock your lower back, send your right leg forward, right hand outside of the left knee, preparing for the other side, left arm opens like a wing, maybe adjust your hip, roll on top of the right one, drop the left knee onto the right side. Again, I always say if you need a block on one side, you most likely need it onto the other. And even if you don't, sometimes it's just because you want to balance things out. Because if you have one part is more flexible and you keep capitalizing on the flexibility on that side, and the other one is less, and you get a little bit frustrated because it's not, so you kind of run away from that side. You keep feeding into the imbalances. So can you kind of take a step back maybe on one side to allow the other one to move along? When you're ready, inhale, both knees into the chest. Rock your lower back, rub it on the floor, that's so nice. When you're ready, send the feet towards the opposite corner on the mat. Open your arms wide, palms are facing towards the sky. Relax, shoulders under. I'm taking a couple of breaths here. In and out. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in. And out. I want to ask you to stay in your Shavasana a little bit longer than usual. If you have 5 minutes to spend, 7 minutes to spend, please do so. You know, allow just this moment to be totally yours. I want to thank you for being with us, practicing with us. I want to ask you, to subscribe to the channel, offer us a coffee, keep us going. And we see each other soon. Don't forget to indeed follow us also on Instagram, so where we put a lot of little tutorials. Thank you again and have a great day.